You ever notice how a bathroom remodel starts with something small, like a leaky washer, and ends with you standing in a gutted room at 3 in the morning wondering why you're holding a sledgehammer?
Speak for yourself, Tiger. My remodels usually involve me calling a professional the second I see a drop of water where it shouldn't be. But today, you promised to convince me and the listeners that we can actually install these fixtures without causing a flood.
It's the one room in the house where people are terrified of their own shadows, and I get it. Water is a patient predator. It'll wait 10 years to find that one tiny gap in your plumber's putty just to rot out your subfloor. But honestly, if you can turn a wrench and read a level, you've got about 80% of the battle won.
See, that's where you lose me. Just turn a wrench. Last time I tried just turning a wrench on a shower head, I ended up snapping the arm off inside the wall.
Ah, the old over-tighten until it screams method. We've all been there. You treat it like you're securing a lug nut on a semi-truck when really, you're just trying to keep a seal. That shower arm probably would have stayed put if you'd just given it a gentle snugging and let the Teflon tape do the heavy lifting.
Okay, let's start with the basics. Sink faucets, the gateway drug of plumbing. Signature Hardware says they're simple, but they also say you just need a wrench and some putty. Is it really that straightforward, or is that just what they tell you so you'll buy the fancy gunmetal widespread set?
It's mostly true, provided you aren't trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. If you have a 3-hole sink and you buy a faucet that's meant for a single-hole mount, you're already making your Saturday very complicated. The real trick to a professional-looking faucet install isn't the plumbing part, it's the prep.
Prep? You mean clearing out the mountain of half-empty shampoo bottles under the sink so you can actually fit your head in there?
Exactly, and laying down a towel, not for the water, though you'll get some of that, but for your back. Lying on that hard cabinet floor is a recipe for a grumpy afternoon. But seriously, the mistake people make is not cleaning the sink surface. You get all that old, crusty lime and prehistoric putty off there until it's smooth as a polished gemstone. If the base isn't flat, your new faucet is going to lean like the Tower of Pisa.
I watched a dad, how do I? Video where he made the pop-up drain look like a 5-minute job. But every time I touch a drain, it leaks. Is there some secret handshake I'm missing?
Most folks use too much putty or not enough. You want a rope of it about the thickness of a pencil. Wrap it around the underside of the flange, and when you tighten that nut from below, you want to see a nice, even squeeze out all the way around. It's like a grilled cheese sandwich. If the cheese isn't oozing out the sides, you didn't do it right. Then you just wipe away the excess. And for the love of all things holy, stop using pliers on the huge plastic nuts. Hand tight, plus a quarter turn with a wrench is plenty. If you gorilla grip those plastic threads, they'll jump and you'll never get a seal.
Gorilla Grip. Got it. So what about the fancy stuff? I saw this matte black widespread faucet in a catalog that looked incredible, but it had these separate valves for hot and cold.
Widespreads are beautiful, but they're the moderate difficulty tier. You've got more points of failure because of those flexible hoses connecting the valves to the spout. The pro move there is to assemble as much as you can before you drop it into the sink. It's a lot easier to tighten those little brass nuts while you're standing up looking at it than it is when you're folded like an accordion inside a vanity.
Let's talk about the shower. I can handle a shower head. Even I can unscrew one and screw on a new one. But then I see these shower systems with the slide bars and the rainfall heads and the body jets. Signature Hardware warns that those are difficult. Why the jump in complexity?
Because you're moving from decorating to engineering. A standard shower head is just a termination point. A system often requires you to get behind the tile. If you're adding a handheld wand on a slide bar, you might be looking at a diverter valve. If you don't have enough water pressure, that rainfall head is just going to feel like a leaky gutter. Nothing kills the spa experience faster than a shower that just dribbles on your head.
A leaky gutter. That's a glowing endorsement. So if I want that rainfall look without tearing out my subway tile, am I stuck?
Not necessarily. There are retrofit bars that hook up to your existing shower arm. But if you want the real deal built-in look, you're calling a plumber or getting very comfortable with a reciprocal saw and some PEX tubing. Which brings us to the heavyweight champion of bathroom disasters, the bathtub.
Okay, I've seen the videos of people trying to DIY a tub. It looks like a scene from a slapstick movie. You've got 3 guys sweating, someone's toe gets crushed, and then they realize the drain doesn't line up by half an inch.
Half an inch in plumbing is basically a mile. A tub is the one thing I tell people, do not do this alone. Even a lightweight acrylic tub is a giant, awkward sail of a thing. And if you're going for one of those beautiful freestanding soaking tubs, the hammered copper ones or the solid surface models, you're looking at hundreds of pounds. You need to make sure your floor can actually hold the weight of the tub, plus 50 gallons of water, plus a human being. It's a lot of math for a Saturday morning.
I'm guessing you've had a math error in your past?
I once helped a buddy install a clawfoot in an old farmhouse. We got it in, it looked like $1,000,000. He filled it up for the inaugural soak, and we started hearing these groans from the floor joists that sounded like a sinking ship. We had to go into the basement and sister up the floor joists with steel plates while he was still upstairs in the bubbles. He thought it was some kind of vibration feature I'd installed.
Vibration feature. That is terrifying. Okay, so tubs are for the pros, but what about the small stuff? Rob Kenny, the dad, guy, always talks about things like robe hooks and towel bars. Is there a pro way to hang a towel bar? Because mine always seem to wiggle after a month.
People treat towel bars like an afterthought, but they take a lot of abuse. You're yanking on them, hanging heavy, wet towels. The pro way is to throw away those plastic ribbed anchors that come in the box. They're garbage. They're the unpaid internships of the hardware world. They claim they'll do the work, but they never hold up.
So what do you use?
Toggle bolts or zinc self-drilling anchors if you can't hit a stud. But honestly, if you're doing a full remodel and the walls are open, I tell everyone, block it out. Put a 2x6 piece of scrap wood between the studs right where the towel bar and the toilet paper holder are going to go. Then you can screw those fixtures directly into solid wood through the drywall. That bar will be there until the house falls down.
You mentioned barn doors earlier. They're everywhere in farmhouse modern designs. They seem easy because they're just on a track, but I've heard they can be a nightmare to get level.
They are the silent killer of patience. A barn door only stays where you put it if that track is perfectly, surgically level. If it's off by even a hair, the door will either slowly creep open or slowly slide shut like there's a ghost in the house. And because those doors are heavy, if you don't hit the headers or the studs with every single lag bolt, you're eventually going to have a sliding wall of timber falling on your toes.
This all sounds like a lot of don't do this and be careful of that. Give me a win, Tiger. If I'm a beginner and I want to feel like a pro this weekend, what's the one project where the effort to glory ratio is highest?
Replacing the shower head, hands down. You spend 15 minutes on it. You use a little bit of that Teflon tape, wrap it clockwise, about 3 or 4 times around the threads. Use a rag over the nut so you don't scratch the finish with your wrench. Snug it up. Turn the water on. When you step in there the next morning and that water hits you like a warm tropical rain instead of the stinging needles of your old crusty head, you'll feel like the king of the world.
And no gorilla gripping the wrench?
Not a bit of it. Just a firm handshake of a connection.
I like that. A firm handshake. It makes it sound less like a battle with the pipes and more like a polite agreement.
That's all plumbing is, Alex. It's a negotiation with gravity and pressure. If you respect them, they'll generally leave you dry. The second you get arrogant and think you can force a fitting to do something it doesn't want to do, that's when you get a face full of cold water.
I think that's the takeaway for today. Respect the pressure, don't skimp on the prep, and maybe leave the bathtub to someone with a crane and a structural engineer on speed dial.
Exactly. Take the wins where you can get them. A perfectly level towel bar might not feel like much, but it's the difference between a house that feels solid and one that feels like it's held together with hope and duct tape.
Thanks for the firm handshake of advice, Tiger. Next time, can we talk about why I shouldn't try to tile my own floor?
Oh, that's a whole different kind of heartache. We'll save that for when we have a few hours and a very large bottle of ibuprofen.